As we rapidly approach the 2024 presidential election, I'm struck by an interesting observation: the silence amongst my peers. It is a distinct contrast from 4 years ago. I live in a predominantly liberal community. On average, my family and coworkers lean that direction as well. Leading up to the 2020 election, the chatter was vibrant and engaged amongst my circles, and I was convinced that Trump was going to experience an unprecedented defeat. Nationwide polls were saying similar things, and it appeared to be a given that Biden was going to be moving into the White House. So imagine my surprise when the results showed a different reality. The race was much closer than anticipated, and while Biden did eventually head up our government, it became far more apparent to me that my own bubble wasn't indicative of the rest of the nation. The truth is, we should have known better. After all, Trump's rather impressive win over Hillary Clinton in 2016 showed us the strength of his base. The polls back then were also dramatically wrong, so it should come as no surprise that the 2020 contest was much closer than anticipated. But why? And most importantly, how could such a scenario unfold? And how would it impact the results in 2024? I think the truth can be found in the silence of those around us, even amidst the craziness going on in the world right now. Take, for example, the fact that the former president of the United States is undergoing a very public trial at the moment. Coverage dominates the news cycle, and courtroom drawings are plastered on every single site. Yet, what would have been a moment of jubilation in the past amongst my peers has been replaced with apathy and what appears to be an intentional avoidance. Nobody, and I mean nobody, wants to discuss it. This moment sheds light on what I believe has been truly a deciding factor in Trump's previous overperformances, or so they say. There has always been a push to paint Trump as a boogeyman of sorts, looking to upend our government and create chaos within our nation. His gregarious nature and abrupt communication style is supposed to be off-putting, and with all of the questionable decisions in his past, well, there's simply no way I could vote for a man like that, right? You see, in circles like mine, admitting that you are planning on voting for Trump has in the past been met with a degree of disbelief and disregard. You couldn't say something like that without being ostracized to a certain degree. You see, Trump's true strength in the election lies not within his loud and devoted base, but rather in the silent and selective few who will choose to vote for Trump without shining a bat signal into the night sky. I'm sorry to say, but Biden's presidency thus far has, in my opinion, been a disaster. Chaos has erupted throughout the world. Inflation is eating away at family savings. Young people cannot afford starter homes. The distance between the haves and the have-nots has widened, and we have been bombarded with annoying identity politics in every effort to distract us from what's really going on behind the scenes. Many people, like myself, are ashamed to admit that our votes are responsible for all of these struggles. While we made our choice in the hopes of a better future, it's clear that our kindness, hopes, and dreams have been usurped and weaponized within the current state of the Democratic Party. It is a hard pill to swallow, and I believe this is precisely the source of the silence that is experienced throughout this nation right now. People are pondering their choices, both past and future, and it is through this uneasiness that I believe Trump will easily garner more votes than Biden in the 2024 election. Have we seen Trump leading in the polls in the previous two elections? I honestly cannot recall that ever being the case. Today, however, even while spending much of his time in a courtroom, many polls have him as a front runner. I can only imagine what those numbers will be once the disregarded silent vote begins to fill out their ballot. As for me, well, I plan on voting for RFK Jr. I believe that he is a man that's truly focused upon piecing our country back together. This is a moment where unity is necessary, and these past 8 years have proven that Trump and Biden both have a difficult time doing so. But that doesn't mean that I'm incapable of seeing what's going on around me, and I don't believe that Joe Biden stands a chance, with or without Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in the race. As for me, I've made my choice, I've done my research, and I know it's not popular. But RFK all the way.